today's rate of change is the slowest that we'll experience for the remainder of our lives. And that's hard to wrap your head around. So we're about a year removed from ChatGPT really coming onto the scene, and it's evolved our thinking so much of what education can be, but that rate of change is coming really, really quickly. And schools have not been built to be agile or change with the times very quickly. A lot of schools around the country, and even some places in our district, still look like that factory model of we herd kids in, we sit them, we tell them what they need to know, we do a quick test, then we move on to the next thing of how do we move them through. District 214 has done a great job of innovating over the years and trying to break that down, but it's a hard system to shutter and to change. We told stories in my prior district about like during COVID when we were changing left and right all the time. It's like turning a battleship in a canal. It doesn't just happen really easily. But some of the things that we're trying to do here is to narrow our focus to the point that we can create a North Star for our district of an area of focus, and our goals become more narrow, so we're not all over the place. The district has had a laser focus on college and career pathways for many, many years, and we have made a name for ourselves. Locally and nationally. We graduated 35% of the state of Illinois' pathway graduates. Out of 800 and something kids that had a pathway endorsement in the state of Illinois, 35% of them came from our district. And there were 30 more districts that had graduates this last year than the year before. So we're doing exceptional work. But it's time that we look at some other things because our pathway programs are established. It's time to iterate those and tighten the foundation, but it's also time to look at what else do we want to take our school towards. So this is also part of like, let's dream about what the future of high school can be. I talked about the factory model. We talk all the time amongst principals in our administration of we need to break this model and evolve so our kids are ready for whatever life holds beyond our walls at graduation, whether that's military, directly into the workforce, a CTE career, or trade school, community college, or a four-year university. We really want to dream how we can prepare them so that they're ready for all of it, no matter what they choose. So Deliver Ed has been our partner. They've been a really great partner, and the reason we liked them, one, we connected with them as people, and we believed in who they were as former educators and partners, but in part because they told a story and showed us a path of how they could connect with voices in our district. Our district is, as you know, is extremely diverse. There's lots of different people that make up our district that come, and our schools are also very different. And we wanted to be sure that we captured the voices of every corner of the district, because at the end of the day, our goal is that you all see your kids in this plan. Our teachers all see themselves in the classroom in the plan, and we as leaders see where we want the district to go so that everyone connected to our school sees how they play a role in us accomplishing this or experiencing the outcomes that we're working toward. So we're 3 phases into the process. We began this last spring. You'll remember we sent surveys out. Some of you may have participated in a focus group. We had a great response from some of our survey data. Over 2,000 stakeholders took our surveys or engaged in focus groups, which is phenomenal. Our partners say they haven't seen this level of engagement in some of their other school districts they worked with. In the middle, it breaks down from students to district staff to our teachers to family members to community members that don't have kids in our school, and to some of our sender communities with 7 feeder districts. That's an interesting layer that I'll talk a little bit about. And we're asking our people to dream about what will high school be like in 20 years. That's impossible to dream and actually come to fruition, but we want to dream what could be, and then break that down into 5-year chunks. And we're tackling the first 5 years in this plan, and that's the feedback we're after this evening. So that initial round of feedback gave us some areas of strength and some areas of opportunity. Some of these are not surprising. The number one piece of feedback, dedicated staff, was at the top of the list from our students as well as our families. It was no surprise. It affirmed what we already believed to be true, which is wonderful. We have a wonderful, diverse course offerings, and our pathways were prioritized. People love our extracurricular options, the resources, and the types of facilities we have, which is interesting because you'll see this on the opportunities side as well. And then community and family engagement. We all know our community really values education, and it's tied and connected with our school district. Opportunities for improvement. Look at how we want us to look at how we resource or allocate our resources, because we have 6 comprehensive high schools that all have very different communities and different needs, and they can't be serviced in exactly the same manner. Post-COVID, we have a declining academic rigor engagement or perception of. Things were adjusted coming out of COVID because our students needed something different from us, and our community is saying, let's ramp this up, focus on some alignment, and really increase our focus on rigor to prepare our students for what lies beyond. That, staff and parents said that, and we agree. Quality facilities and infrastructures come back. Buffalo Grove is our youngest school at 51 years old. And we have a lot of need. I'll talk a little bit about across the district. But Buffalo Grove, one of the things we just completed at Buffalo Grove was we added a new air conditioning. You'll remember we had to cancel school because the air conditioning were out. We had to cancel school because we had a skating rink in the hallways. And we just replaced our boilers, which were original to the building, which is a testament to our CMA team of how well they've been able to maintain things. But that's the same across the district. We have some of some very aging infrastructure we've got to take care of. The student behavior, discipline, and attendance, chronic absenteeism has been a challenge for everyone, but it's alive and well here. We have our students need to come to school at a greater rate, and we want to tighten our practices on some of the behavior management things we're seeing around the district. And then mental health and well-being and safety supports. The very first question I received after I was approved at the board was from a student from Buffalo Grove, a journalist from Buffalo Grove. She just graduated last spring. And the very first question was, what are you going to do about student mental health? And of course, we knew that it's not a surprise. It was a surprise at the first question. It was not a surprise that was an area of need. So you'll see that addressed in here, and it actually is coming from some of our PE teachers with an idea that we bought into that we want to carry forward. So 4 themes have emerged. Engaging every student in meaningful learning, supporting staff, changing needs to go above and beyond, building our culture of excellence and inclusion, and modernize our systems. And you'll see all of these puzzle pieces in the plan. Once we had the themes, we built this team of 40-plus people to be on our steering committee. This team consists of administrators in the district, teachers in the district, instructional assistants, all 3 presidents of our collective bargaining units, parents from every building, students from every building, as well as some great educators from each of our buildings. We've met 4 or 5 times for big chunks of time to do deep dives into the data analytics, as well as the emerging themes that our partners have shared with us, and used and fine-tuned those themes into the plan that I'm going to show you this evening in the handout that you have. So we're in this window. We're in this window right now where we're presenting this and socializing this plan with all of our parent groups, all of our staff. The staff presentation this morning for Specialized in our district office. And then after Thanksgiving, we kind of wrap up with the other, I think we're halfway through with 3 more schools to go, which is when the survey closes, and we'll take the details of the survey feedback that we get from you all, and we can synthesize it to see, are we on track with this plan and how do we need to adjust? So as we dreamed about what the next 20 years, we looked at from a global view with some standards on the World Economic Forum. What will education look like, which is extremely hard to predict? What do our employers want? And what does our community want? And these last 2 is an area that we've lived for quite some time because all of our pathways are in response to community workforce needs. And we've built a reputation around that, and we intend to maintain that. But it's difficult to dream about what could be in a world that's so unpredictable, where changes are becoming so rapid. And so we narrowed that down into these chunks, the big dream, and then narrowed it into 5, and then we did some portrait of a graduate work. And I'm going to break all these down to show you in a little more detail. When the plan is complete, this is how it will flow. The foundational beliefs and the vision, I'll show you the first draft of that tonight. Portrait of a graduate, I'll show you a draft of that tonight. And then the first 4 goals, I'll show you a draft of that tonight. After we tighten and iterate that process and make sure that what we're working toward is reflective of what the community and our staff and our students want to see, we'll then build construction teams that'll consist of 4 or 5 people for each goal and each subset of every goal, which you'll see. Those teams will then backward map metrics. How will we know if we've achieved this goal? What are we going to measure to say we're on track? That we'll look at annually. Are we making the progress we need to make? And then once we have those goals, we'll then build strategies of how will we work to get to this goal. And each year, actually mid-year and then at the end of the year, we'll present these to the school board publicly to share how are we making progress toward the direction that we said we wanted to go. What's really important for me is that our plan is a reflection of what the community wants to see in the schools and what our staff and families and students, the outcomes that they're after and the experience that our kids want to have.